Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Mark Bazinski here from Tried It For You. My website, trieditforyou.com, is all about the survival niche, the survival shit hit the fan types of items out there. So, what this website is all about is for trying things that we find online, that I find online, or even yourself. If you find something that you want for me to try out, review it, whatever, I will do that. Just let me know. I have a website that you are more than welcome to go look at. I've got different things up there for what I've already currently done, and as I continue to put new content up there, from doing reviews, written reviews, and video reviews of things I've bought. So please go take a look at it at trieditforyou.com. I also have a Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, where I'm always trying new different things and getting myself out there. I would appreciate if you are interested in the things that I've got, please leave a comment, okay? Click on the like button down below, leave a comment, ring that bell for notifications, and you'll make sure that you get the latest and greatest of what I put out. I try to put out a video every week so that I try to keep it fresh. If there's something that you're interested in, please let me know, and I'll do my very best. You can also email me at markbazinski@trieditforyou.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please, I get lots of emails, so I go through them as much as I can. Put in the comments or the description of your email, please like or please look at this, or put your name in there. Sign up for my web pages. That way I know who to look for, and I'm not just getting spammed. I know everybody hates getting spammed, so I won't do it to you. Please don't do it to me. So anyways, like I said, I've got a channel, Tried It For You. This is all about looking at the survival industry. The shit hits the fan. The what to do if collapse of society, or if you just have a really bad weather in your area that knocks down your infrastructure, your water, your electricity, those types of things. What happens when you go to the store and find out everybody's bought up all the toilet paper for no darn reason other than everybody's afraid they're not going to be able to wipe themselves as they continue on. So you never know what's going to happen. So this site's about being prepared, making sure that you've got the things that you need to keep yourself, your family, and your friends safe. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about about creating a fire. Not so much as creating a fire. We all know how to create a fire. Yeah, you go to the store, you buy some matches, you get a big lighter, you flick the thing a couple times, you got fire. Add water or add water. Don't add water to fire. You put it out. So but you want to be able to build a fire effectively. Now, there are literally hundreds of different ways of building a fire. Now, what I'm going to go through are the 4 ways, or the 4 types of fires that are out there that are most effective in just about any situation. It all depends on what you're trying to do. So we're going to go through 4 different videos from 4 other people that have done these, and I'm going to critique each and every one of those. So without further ado, I'm going to get rolling right into this so that you can see what I'm looking at. Going to critique other people's ideas. Now, I'm not here to teach you how to build those fires. I'm going to show you the different types of fires and talk about what they're doing and let you know that there are different ways for different types of situations for the type of fire that you're going to build. Now, these 4, like I said, are the most effective. So if there's a different situation, there are different techniques, there are different styles of fires that you can build, but these are the 4 best ways if you're out in the wilderness or in your backyard and you want to build a fire. So let's get rolling into them, and let's go to the first video. Let's roll. Cut. Okay, so here we go. This is the first video. This is from the Canadian Prepper. He's got several different videos out there. If you are in the prepper lifestyle, survival lifestyle, or just want to know about it and you've done any kind of searching online for him, you will have come across this guy. This here, he shows a bunch of different types that we're going to be talking about here, but I wanted to mix everything up so that we're not just looking at one way or another way or one person's view on building a fire. Now, as I said, we're not here to show you how to strike that fire and get it going. We're just here to show you the types of fires that are out there that you can choose from, and it'll be up to you to decide which one is best for the situation you are in.
This is the first fire I want to talk about. It's the teepee fire. It's the most intuitive fire. You have a teepee design with the bigger sticks on the outside, the smaller little sticks on the inside, and the kindling right in the middle. It's one of the easiest to set up. The only downside is that it doesn't burn that long. If you have soft ground, what I would recommend doing is sticking your main columns, if you will, into the ground a little bit, and that'll just give them some support so you don't have to lean it all up onto itself.
Okay, so you saw how the teepee fire works. Pretty self-explanatory. All you need to do is get some fairly decent sized sticks, probably no bigger than your wrist. Any bigger than that, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult. You'll want to put these into the ground so that they create a teepee. 3 or 4 would be fine, but you want to make sure that they're not going to fall over, because what you don't want to be doing is trying to fight this thing to keep it upright and trying to light it and get it going. So what you want to do is, well, once you've got your sticks stuck in the ground, you've created that triangle, that teepee look. In the middle, you're going to add your starter, your kindling, the things that's going to get that fire to start going so that it can start billowing up through those larger sticks and starting your fire. The thing that it doesn't show you is you got to continue to feed that teepee until the outer part of your teepee starts to become self-sustaining. So fairly easy, fairly intuitive, but I would suggest that if you're going to do these types of things.
An upside down fire, also called a pyramid, is a great option for when you want a long burning fire that doesn't need much tending once it gets started. Lay 4 or so of your largest logs on the bottom with as little space between them as possible. Then add another layer of slightly smaller logs across the first layer. Continue adding layers until you have a pyramid with the smallest pieces on top. Now, pile your tinder and kindling on the top of the stack and light it up. Once the fire gets started, it will slowly burn through each layer of logs, and you'll be able to enjoy the fire for hours without having to add more wood.
Now that you saw how REI Co-op built this fire, now that you go to their website or their channel, you'll see different other ways, specifically on the other types of fires that we're talking about here. But this is just one other way of doing things. And so with what this lady talked about was you build your fire with your heaviest fuels on the bottom and you work your way up, starting with your kindling and your actual fire starter at the very top. And what will happen is it will work its way down. Now, eventually it's going to get down to the big fuel, but by the time it's gotten there, it's built yourself a very good base of coals so that all you need to do is continue to add to that fire. So, very good, very long burning, and as you've got that coal base on there, all you need to do is just continue. Okay, so we're back. Now we're going to look at number 3 in our video for the 4 types of most effective campfires. This one is called the lean-to fire from Outdoors on the Cheap. This is another way of doing a fire. If you're looking at building a fire and minimizing the amount of smoke that comes from the fire, this is a great fire to have in your camp. Or if you've got a shelter and you need a fire inside of it and you need to minimize the amount of smoke, or even more so if you're trying to not attract attention and minimizing your smoke from your fire or from your camp, is what you're looking for, this is an ideal way of building a fire. So let's have a look at what they've got to show us.
Lean-to fire, the idea is that you've got a wall that you're leaning everything against. Let me zoom this in a bit. All right, so you've got a wall that you're going to be leaning material against. Now you're going to make a bit of a, it's always good to have a bit of a floor, right? Just put some stuff on the ground. Because the ground's wet, right? So you don't want to try starting a fire with the whole thing sitting on, snow. So you just take the stuff and twist it and break it up a bit, put it on the side like this. You're just preparing you're preparing your fire materials. You're getting things ready. So that once you've got it lit, that one doesn't break, so why bother? Yeah, it's nice and loose there. Nice material. Very, very kindling-like, right? That's good stuff. Beautiful. Notice how I haven't had to use a saw, I haven't had to use an axe, haven't had to baton anything with my knife, right? All that stuff. I mean, in certain circumstances you do, but at least where I live, it's rare that that's necessary. All right, so I got all my fire materials ready to go. Put them aside here. So with the lean-to fire, the idea is that you've got some stuff that's going to take a flame pretty readily, right? In this case, it's a combination of old man's beard and really, I should take my gloves off for this, really fine tips from a fir tree or a birch tree that are dry, right? This really fine stuff. And you've got that against something that resembles a wall, okay? You can build it up a bit. That's the idea, okay? Now, since you've got a wall, you start leaning things. It's called a lean-to fire, right? You lean things against the wall. That will light easily. Just a handful of things, right? That'll light easily. And that'll bear some weight. A little bit of snow on that. Let's clean that off. Okay, like that. Then you throw other stuff on top. As it starts going. So for now we just have it like that. Okay, so now I can get my hand in underneath all that stuff that's going to ignite. This little lean-to I've created is going to keep the fire that oh geez, I forgot about this stuff. All this stuff's going to ignite, it's going to start burning, but it's not going to fall down and smother the stuff that's burning underneath. And I can keep adding stuff to it and adding stuff to it, and the fire will build up heat. It'll dry off the stuff that I've thrown on top, and it'll just work really easily. So let's fire it up and see. All right, so all I got to do is, I can use my lighter. I don't know how well this old man's beard is going to flame up today. Hold it in there for a second. All right, so the old man's beard has caught, right? And it's starting to ignite other things. Notice I'm not blowing on this, I'm not fanning it, I'm not doing anything. I don't need to, right? Now we just keep, while that's happening, just keep adding stuff to the fire. We don't have to worry about the fire falling in and smothering it. But we want the initial fire that we've created here to warm up. You know, any moisture, I mean, nothing's perfectly dry out in the woods, especially where I live here. But we want that initial fire that's underneath to create the heat that's needed to melt the stuff underneath. Right now I can just stand back a little bit. If you stand really close to a fire, the smoke will tend to go right for you. So you get back a step or two. Just one step should do, right? So I'm here now, right? You see my hand, yeah? Maybe I should get a different camera angle, see if I can do that quickly. Right, so that wasn't a lot of work. I got a nice warming fire. I can really go as big as I want. And throw that stuff on there. It's not going to cave in. I'm standing back about a stride from the fire. I can feel the heat off it. Definitely feel the heat. I can feel the warmth right now. This is the right distance. If you're really close to the fire, the smoke from the fire will tend to come right towards you. It's also good when you're setting up your fire to get a sense of which way the wind's going. I mean, it usually goes, you know, west to east sort of thing, or whatever, but today it seems to be going that way, which is like from the north to the south. So it's good to sit perpendicular to the fire, perpendicular to the wind. So it's going to carry off any smoke, so you're not being, you know, harassed.
Okay, so you just saw from Outdoors on the Cheap on how he builds a lean-to fire. There are several different ways of doing this. This is not the only way. Like any of these videos I have shown to you, there is always a different way of doing things. Like there's always a different way to skin a cat. So you just have to figure out what is going to work best for you. So fairly intuitive again, not very hard. Basically, you've got your flat ground, you've got a wall that you built up to it, and you have built laser sticks across it. You've got your tinder underneath of it, and you'll light that tinder, which will catch to the kindling, which will eventually catch to the larger fuels. Fairly quick and easy, builds a lot of heat, and once it's going, all you need to do is maintain it. Okay, so now we're on number 4 of our most effective campfires that you can build in your backyard or at your camp. Any of these can be utilized for any situation that you are in. You have to decide what is going to work best for you. Now, the last video that I want to show you is called the Star Fire. The Star Fire comes from Bob Hansler, who has quite a bit of different types of fires on his channel that you can look at, amongst other things. So give him a look at if you're looking for different ways of doing things. But this is a one way of building a star fire. Let's have a look.
This is how to make the Star Firelay, and this is less of a firelay and more of a campfire design in my opinion. But what you see here around me are large lengths of wood, various sizes, various widths, laid down in a radial pattern. This is the main concept behind the Star Firelay. Now you can use as many of these as you want. I go with more. Some people use 4 or 5 of these spokes. The concept is that as you need fire, as you need more and more heat, you can simply feed the logs in. If you want to take some of that fire away, some of the heat away and control the burn, you can always pull them out. Now the biggest strength for this firelay is that you don't always have to go and mechanically cut up your wood. A lot of situations, survival, even weekend camping, you might not have an axe, you might not have a saw, you might not want to spend the effort to break up all of your wood. And in this manner, you can use larger pieces and slowly feed them into the fire as they're consumed. So it works out pretty well. The only concern we have with this firelay is that due to its size and the ungainly sizes of the wood you'll be using, it's not very easy to make a fire ring. So you don't want to be able to make this in a protected area or some area that doesn't have a lot of wind where your ashes can go off into weeds or anything flammable and start up a forest fire. Always a concern. So to get this thing started, all I'm going to do is go ahead and make a rat's nest here in the middle. And so I can build my fire down here and I can push the logs over accordingly. Now in this place at this time, I'm going to go ahead and use a fire bundle. And this is just a bunch of grass and weeds and things that I know are extremely flammable. I'm going to set them down there. So lots and lots of surface area. You can also notice that a lot of times I'll go ahead and dig a bit of a pit We want to make sure that we get good airflow all the way around. You don't want to push all your spokes in there where you're cutting down on that. You want to be able to get all the air in. Lots of air, hot burn. A hot burn means that you're going to get your fire started a lot faster, and make sure that you actually get that fire started. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the kindling over, and again I'm just going to kind of bundle it. And the idea is that you want to have a loose bundle, but you want to have a tall bundle. So all this tinder down here is going to flame up. Lots of heat, lots of oxygen. It is going to have all the flames and all the heat coming up through. And the idea is before this down here has been extinguished, it's all burned up and all the fuel's gone, you will have ignited this top portion. As it does ignite, you want to go ahead and keep on building up. Firelays are not one of those things where you just kind of light it up and cross your fingers and hope. Play an active role getting this thing started. With all Firelays, they ought to be a one-match fire, and what that means is that one match ought to be one fire. So you get 20 matches. Hypothetically, you should have 20 fires right there. So I'm going to go ahead and light this up. You can always pull back a little bit and get access to your good fuel underneath, and that's the idea. I'm going to go ahead and light this up, making sure to block from any wind, because that one match, in different situations, can be life and death. So I'm going to get it up under there. A little bit of smoke getting generated, and it should flame up quite quickly. And as it does that, I can go ahead and move my log back into place, and I can continue to add fuel, small fuel, to this fire. Now, getting this started can be any kind of Firelay you choose. And check out some of the other videos. So you could have put a teepee down in there, you could have put a log cabin. As long as you're getting that fire started so that you can get these logs going. That's the concept. Alrighty. Excellent fire. Now, as a side note, a lot of my groups that I take out, especially my Boy Scouts, if I'm in a remote camp, I always have the issue of the Boy Scouts, they take it upon themselves, they start gathering firewood, and that's awesome. But I'll always have your bow saws and your hatchets and axes lying around. And I have a lot of people come and start cutting up wood and cutting up logs, small ones like this, and using up those. If you're ever camping with me, the rule is that bow saws and your axes and hatchets, those are for cutting greenwood, those are for building implements, those are for fixing things. Your firewood's going to be burnt. So whenever I'm making a campfire, whenever I'm camping out there, and we're talking about miles and miles and miles away from any kind of road, the blades on my bow saws are just for building things. I will take that saw away from you if you're cutting up firewood just to make sure it's the nice 12 and 13 inch lengths. It's all going to be burnt. As long as we have designs like this, no problems. Pretty cool. As it starts to burn down, you want to go ahead and move a bit of your star in. The longer the lengths of wood you have, the easier it is for you to go around and actually push it in with your shoe. So you could just knock it around with the boot and make it right. And in this way you can control the fire. Pretty nice. Guys, that's your star Firelay in a nutshell. Make sure that you always put out your campfires completely before you leave them. Never leave them unattended. Like and subscribe.
All right, so now that we've looked at Bob Hansler's rendition of building a star fire, this Starfire allows you to build your fire without the use of many tools. Granted, you're gonna have to have some tools, but such as a ferro rod, something to get your fire started. But you do not need to have a saw, an axe, whatever, to start this Starfire. Once you've got the Starfire going, it's just a matter of pushing the logs into the center so that it continues to feed it. You don't need to keep going out and looking for more fuel, depending on the size of the logs that you're using. All you have to do is just keep feeding the fire. And eventually, obviously, it's going to burn out, but not for a while. It's just a matter of somebody watching the fire so that it doesn't go out and you continue to feed it. And if you're in the campfire, more likely somebody's watching it all the time. So those are the 4 campfires that are most effective in just about any situation. Some are going to be easier than others. Some are going to allow you to do different things if you're in a camping situation. If you're in a survival situation, you're going to have a different mindset of what you're doing or what you need to get done. But for the most part, these are the most effective, provides the most fuels, or on the other side of it, provides you the ability to get something going fairly quickly, depending on your situation that you are in. Now that we have looked at the 4 different types of campfires for you to build, what I suggest to you before you get into a situation that requires you to build one of these fires or any fire is that you need to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Because you just can't go out there and just throw a bunch of logs together and then hope that you're going to get a fire. Sometimes you get lucky, and that's exactly what happens. But you don't want to be in a situation where you're in an emergency situation that you are panicked and you can't even remember some of the basic things that'll build a fire. Now, one of the things that all 4 of these videos have in common is it does not show you the most effective way to get that fire started. These are different styles of campfires for you to build, but you need to know how to start a fire without the use of a big lighter, without the use of a fuel to help accelerate it, like lighter fluid or gas or any one of those types of tools that could help you get it going faster. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've got a means to get something lit quicker, faster, for whatever situation you may be in, and you are able to bring those with you wherever you're at, then granted, use them. But the idea of being an outdoorsman, being out camping, is to minimize your impact on the environment. So you don't want to bring stuff with you that you have to haul back out with you. So there are different ways of doing this, and if you continue to watch my videos, I will show you different tools that you can use that helps minimize your impact on the environment. Now, don't get me wrong, if you can make things a lot easier for you without making an impact on the environment, that is great. But starting a fire with the minimalist types of tools out there is not easy. You watch some of these shows, Alone or Survivor, or some of these guys, even on these videos that I've been showing you, is that they strike a match and boom, they've got a fire. It's really not that easy. So continue to watch my videos. Hit the notification button, subscribe to my channel, and you'll get the next notification or next series within my survival training that I am doing. The next one will be on how to build that fire. Once you've learned the basics of it, you should be able to build a fire, create a fire, start a fire in just about any situation that you come across. But you need to continue to watch in order to get that information. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave comments down below. I appreciate both positive and negative feedback as long as it's constructive. If you've got suggestions on what I can do differently, that would be great. So I hope to see you on the outside.